Fast food, Hebrews Biscuits. We're still in chapter 1, and maybe yesterday you were saying, yeah, verse 5, how did you make that into a coronation passage? It's all cross-reference, quoted from Psalms 97, and that is a huge chapter just saying God is on high, God is huge, God is on a throne, there's righteousness. We're going to see this throughout chapter 1 of Hebrews as well, and it's a passage full of worship that eventually you just respond and you say, I'm not worthy to be close to this God. Those mountains, they melt like wax before God. So do I. And so then the conclusion in Hebrews as well as Psalms is worship. Worship Him. And the Greek you find in Hebrews and the Hebrew language you find in Psalms is this idea of obeisance. You lay down. You are nothing before, and because of that, understanding the hierarchical status, you are at their feet. And so going into that, we're now at verse 6. And again, when God brings His firstborn into the world, He says, let all God's angels worship Him. This is huge. There's a tension when we start talking about angels worshiping. We'll get into later about exactly what happened to Satan, but he ended up getting to worshiping himself, and then other angels followed him, worshiped him, or worshiped themselves, and they fall. So all of a sudden, do we worship Jesus? Because worship anyone who is not God, you commit idolatry, you fall from grace. And as Peter points out, angels have no chance to return to grace. So for God to say, hey, angels, worship Christ, He is saying, this one is the same as me. Worship Him. You're worshiping me. Which is huge for even Jehovah's Witness to understand. Jesus isn't simply the Son of God. He is God. He was with God in the beginning, and He was God since the beginning.